The arbitrary date that we give to pregnant folk of 40 weeks is flawed. Why? Well, firstly, we're human mammals, not programmed computers or clocks. We do not all grow our babies and develop our babies at exactly the same time. I mean, look around you. We are individuals. We look different, we feel different. We have different heights, shapes, feet, hands. Why then are we all being forced into the identikit queue for gestation of birth? Surely, like sheep in a field or apples on a tree, we should be looking at a season. It was Franz Naegele, a 19th century obstetrician, that was credited with developing a simple calculation to determine the estimated due date by adding 7 days to the first day of your last period and then subtracting 3 months. This calculation, commonly referred to as Naegele's rule, creates an estimated due date that is more or less 280 days from the last menstrual period, depending upon which calendar months are involved. It was later discovered that the rather old Naegele's rule was in fact not Naegele's idea at all, but based on the writings of Hermann Boerhaave, an 18th century professor of botany and medicine. Boerhaave created this formula based on the records of just 100 pregnant women to calculate the delivery date from the last period, which some historians believe Boerhaave loosely based on observations found in the Bible that human gestation lasted 10 lunar months. What isn't very clear, though, is whether both Naegele and Boerhaave's sum was actually meant to start from either the first or last day of the last menstrual period. And if it was meant to be counted from the end of your last menstrual period, then we could be a week to 10 days wrong on this date given to women on their first midwife or obstetrician appointment. Now, a week to 10 days doesn't sound long, but when induction of labour and a fear of post-term birth comes into play between 39 to 42 weeks, then these dates really matter. And if they are wrong, this can have huge consequences for those women being pushed into induction of labour earlier than their body or their baby are actually ready for. If we then add into the mix 20-week dating scans that can't accurately tell the difference between size and age, we have big problems occurring. Now, recent research published in the Australian and New Zealand Journal of Obstetrics and Gynecology highlights how the idea of a fixed due date stretches credulity. They write, and I quote, "A number of factors were found to significantly influence the length of a pregnancy, including ethnicity, height, variations in the menstrual cycle, the timing of ovulation, parity, and maternal weight." They then go on to say, the expected date of confinement from this formula, Naegele's rule, is approximately right in the majority of cases. However, the idea that this rule can apply to every pregnant female, young or old, nulliparous or multigravida, Caucasian, Asian, African or indigenous, stretches credulity. In addition, many women regard the 40-week date as a deadline which, if crossed, may then place the baby under stress. 40 weeks is such a simple, round, convenient figure that it's proved difficult to challenge despite criticism. Nonetheless, what might have been an appropriate formula in Germany in the 19th century deserves to be revisited in the 21st. So, how long is a normal pregnancy? Well, here we have a problem. In the majority of Western countries, induction is common at or even before 40 weeks. So it's impossible to know exactly what percentage of people today would naturally go into labour and give birth before, on, or after their estimated due date. Many women will go on to have their babies at 43 or 44 weeks or even later. When we speak about term, we speak about a range of dates that can stretch from 37 weeks up to 42 weeks of pregnancy. We can, however, estimate that if we didn't offer induction of labour, then approximately 5 to 10% of women would still be pregnant at the end of 42 weeks. But of course, we must take into account the inaccuracy of modern measurements here. So, why should this subject even matter to you? Why should you care about our fascination with due dates? Well, because of policies, beliefs, choices, and varying evidence that will all affect you directly should you remain pregnant for longer than 40 weeks. So, our next video will be on induction of labour. What that is, why it happens, and what you need to know about it.